Excuse me, ladies and gentlemen.
A couple of
Thank you for coming.
You're welcome.
Really appreciate this. Today we would like to just talk about some issues and talk about some things that's going on here in Red Bank. How we feel about things, and our guests have come to listen to what we have to say. With that being said, they are our guests. We are in Celestial Lodge, so please, let's conduct ourselves accordingly. Today we have Councilman Charlie Huffman. We have our Parks and Rec, Charlie Huffman, Parks and Rec, Chief of Police, Eric Youngstrom, Mark Taylor, Cliff King, Stan Sickles, and Linda Schrosenbauer.
Thank you. My whole family calls me Linda. I would just ask you to do the same.
Okay, thank you, Linda. Okay, so today we're going to talk about quite a few different things, but before we do anything here at the lodge, we'd like to open up in prayer. So, Brother Anderson, if you could lead us in prayer and maybe a song, right? Set us on a little even keel. Can you help us out?
Good afternoon, good evening. My name is Bobby Anderson, and I'll be glad to open with a song and a prayer. If we could all bow our heads, all minds and bodies are clear. Dear Father God in heaven, once again we thank you for this another day. We thank you for our uprisings. We thank you for our gathering here together for this fellowship meeting. We pray that everything we say and do will be pleasing in thy sight. We pray for travel mercies as we leave from this place and go to our several homes and places. Heavenly Father, continue to pray for the sick and shut-ins wherever they may be. Be with bereaved families and their loved ones. Be with those who served in the armed forces here and abroad. In the name of peace and democracy, God bless their families who anxiously await their safe arrival home. These and all blessings we ask in Jesus' name. Amen. Amen. Why should I feel discouraged? Oh, and why do the shadows come? And why should my heart feel lonely and long for heaven and when Jesus is my portion, my constant friend is He. Oh, His eye is on the sparrow, and I know He watches me. His eye is on the sparrow, and I know He watches over me. And I sing because I'm happy. Oh, and I sing because I'm free. His eye is on the sparrow, and I know He watches me. Whenever I am lonely whenever clouds arise. Oh, when sight is soft to sadness, when you inside me dies, I draw closer to you. From fear he sets me free. Oh, beside his own sparrow, and I know he watches me. His eyes on the sparrow, and I know he watches me. And I sing because I'm happy. Oh, and I sing because I'm free. Oh, his eye is on the sparrow, and I know he watches me. His eye is on the sparrow, and I know he watches over me. Oh, yeah.
Thank you, Brother Anderson. Thank you. His eye is on the sparrow. You know, you say that eye is on the sparrow, that means that you focus on something. You focus on what's going on around you and what's happening to you and the way you see things. And sometimes the way you see things might not just be the way somebody else sees things. So today we're here to talk to our guests about the issues that's going on in Red Bank. So, but we have quite a few issues going on in Red Bank, maybe not as many as in other towns. But due to the amount of issues that we're having, we would ask that you would limit your comments to 2 minutes. 2 minutes only, please. And it's a question answer type of conversation. So after you ask the question, please allow for the answer. All right? Who would like to start?
This microphone will be used for the panel here. Thank you.
Okay, let's start off with the issue of parks. Let's start off with the issue of parks. Anyone have an issue with parks?
So you can get on the field and run. I understand you're concerned about people probably doing damage to it, but having access to the field, so you can run. You can run, wake up in the morning, some people wake up earlier, some people run late. But have access to be able to get on the field and run probably about anywhere from 5 or to 10 at night, meaning sometimes. You know, I think that should be developed in a lot of other things.
So just in case anyone didn't hear the question, it was about access to the main football field and the track. Did I hear you correctly? Yeah, so we open the track usually about 8 in the morning, and then we close it right around 10. And generally, folks can walk around it. The only time we sort of forbid it is if there's lacrosse, or if there's a game of some type. So typically the games usually end by about 5:30. But even if there's a soccer practice going on, we have folks that walk it all through the school year. But it's usually about 8 in the morning, sometimes a little bit earlier, and we usually go till 10 with some exceptions. The field is a little bit different. That's open a lot of times for just free play as well, where folks can go, and sometimes you see 5 or 6 groups out there. There's football in one corner and, you know, soccer in another and something like that. But generally, it's pretty much open unless there's a game. So most of the time you can get there from at least 5:30 when the after school slot goes. And it's a little more open in the spring than it is in the fall. But if you want to reserve some time too, definitely call me and we can carve out some time for you as well.
I'd like to add that I believe we open them at 7 o'clock. I think it's when Terrence Walton comes in, he unlocks it when he comes in. And it's open until 10 in season. And with regard to, it's not only lacrosse. Lacrosse, we have to keep them outside the fence because the ball is hard, and if somebody get hurt, that ball goes loose. And I know when I was president of Pop Warner, I think Richard Ashman can vouch for this, the insurance for Pop Warner says nobody can be inside that fence when the teams are practicing or playing because of the chances of people getting hit by players or hit by the ball. So the individual insurance for those teams require that people be outside the fence when they're scheduled to have the field. And that's why we schedule team sports. But we open them at 7 and they close at 10. So, yeah, because we have our night crews coming. Night crew we're closing at 10. Oh, I'm sorry. The question was, is same time as the weekend? I believe so. Because we always have somebody working on the weekend.
Yeah, I mean, it might be a little later than 7, but when the water crew comes in, I think that's the first place they go. Down basically open field seats.
Okay, there was also some questions that,
Can I just add to that? The problem is after those hours, we've had problems. And not as many problems as we used to before we had lights and before it was improved, because I think the residents have taken ownership, they're proud of it. But we had somebody pile up a bunch of pizza boxes and set them on fire on the AstroTurf this year. And it was during, after hours, or hours when somebody wasn't there to supervise. So, and we've had broken glass, and we try not to. We tell everybody, don't bring glass, bring plastic, or what have you. And the broken glass is not good for the kids, because these are really playing fields. And so we try to keep it safe for everybody. But unfortunately, there are some people that get in there after hours when the bars close or wherever they're doing. And although it's not as prevalent and not as big a problem as it used to be, it's still a problem. That's one of the reasons why we close it overnight.
I'm in Red Bank quite often, and as I go through we used to do a lot of landscaping back over here on Locust. And I know at one time they were talking about building a water park over there. And now I'm hearing that it's not a water park, or it is a water park. Could somebody on the council kind of explain to me what's going on with the water park? Is it still in a go? Is it not? Is it safe over there? Is something going on that we need to know?
Well, I guess I start and pass it down if you're going to chime in. We had plans to create a more useful park than what was originally done. What was originally done there was to clear the site, get rid of the old house that had been set on fire and whatnot. And the original thought was to make it just like a walk, a nature area. And the environmental people at that time that were on the committee said they would take care of it, et cetera, et cetera. And then we found that it got overgrown, they weren't taking care of it, the volunteers that said they would take care of it moved out of town, and then it started being used for things other than recreation and enjoyment. We had a gazebo down there that was set on fire, we found needles and things of that nature down there. So, a few years back, we tried to come up with a park, make it more of a useful park for the neighborhood, where people could walk and enjoy it, whether it's sitting, look at the river, or have a playground. And then one idea, there was a concern at one point that with all the heat we were having, there was somebody said, well, we should have a community pool. Well, pool brings a lot of expense and a lot of problems. It's only good for 3 months out of the year, and a lot of maintenance, and we really had no big place enough, no place big enough for a pool. So then it was thought, all right, well, maybe we can put like a spray feature, not a water park, but a spray feature where some kid jumps on a little button on the ground and water will spray up so they can cool off in the summertime. And that made, although it was thought to be an innocent thing, this wasn't supposed to be a big, theme park like, or as big as everybody kept saying was something like Doorbrook, where busloads of kids go. This was supposed to be a neighborhood park with a spray feature. The community came out, and a lot of the residents came out and said they didn't want a spray feature. Some other residents didn't want a park at all. I believe the council now and the committee has voted to go forward with the park idea and eliminate the spray feature in this version to make it more acceptable to everybody and clean it up and make it a useful park for that neighborhood so people can just walk and take the kids or the seniors can walk down and enjoy the river. And I'll pass this down if anybody else wants to comment.
Thanks. Stanley's just given a great synopsis of what had happened. It was during my first year on council when I was chairing that a lot of that activity occurred. And ultimately, towards the end of my year there, what had happened was the environmental committee had gotten, our commission had gotten very interested, as they had been all along. But they had a lot of ideas about how we could have a park there and how it could be something that would be educational and useful for people without having, the spray park component in it. So at that time, we as a council decided to sort of step back and let the environmental commission take a look at it. And I believe, and I'll hand it over to Eric, I think who's the current chair, to see. I believe they're still looking at it, but Eric, you can.
Yeah, so currently, T&M's still investigating down there, other ideas of different things we can do down there for different type of park ideas. One thing that we would love to hear is what the residents want down there. So, I mean, if anybody wants to stand up and tell us what they would like to see in a park down at the end of Locust, I'll be open ears and I'll take down notes. So, anybody out there that wants that?
Hey, you can come over here and take the podium right here. Check it out.
I'm probably, it's gonna make you look quicker than that. I'm probably an idiot, but check this out. I just thought I was here because I was told that they trying to put a park down there when it was a dump for like 60 years. And that they had said that the EPA said it was cool to do. All right, so like, as long as y'all telling the truth and it's cool to do, then go on and put the park down there. But I think y'all should put some kind of clause in the contract that if somebody's kid winds up in like 30 years with 3 arms, that y'all can give them some money. I just think that's just fair. EPA said it was cool, so we say go ahead and build a park. Now, in 30 years, if somebody's kid winds up with 3 arms and 2 heads, then I think it should be a clause in there that says y'all can give them some money. And as long as that's cool, I'm cool with it, because I gotta go, but I'm just saying. That's all I thought I was here for. I don't know what all this other stuff. So like,
Yeah, that's also.
Let's build it. The EPA, Environmental Protection Agency, federal, said it was cool. We're gonna build a park, everybody's ready to play. 30 years, somebody's kid with cancer, or the arm fall off, or the head go 2 or 3. Then the city gonna have a clause in their contract that says if that happens, they're gonna give that family like $400 million, and then we all be good. And anybody else's kid, they get 3 heads, they can get $400 million, and then it'll all be settled. That's all I'm here for. Because I'm just saying, if somebody wanted to build a park over a 60, 70, 80, 90, because I've been there for a long time, I've been here since I'm 59. I've born here, so I've been here at least 50 years. My dad was born here, so he's been here another 85 years, so we're looking at like 120 years of being a Red Bank. And it's always been a dump, and then there's, you know, Shabbat was incinerated there and all that. So, the way I understand it, and correct me if I'm wrong, I was told that the EPA came down and said that under Sunset Avenue was cool, no one did it. Now, if I'm wrong, I just say you're wrong, you got wrong information.
Yeah, so
let me finish. So then I'm wrong. But if I'm right and hearing information I got, then go ahead and build a park. Just when you do that, put a clause in the contract that if anybody gets 3 heads, arm fall off, kidneys die, and like that, that's gonna give them like, you know, $40 a piece. If that multiplies to 700 people, or you might brush it out of the clause and be like, we don't wanna give up that much money, so we're gonna put that park down there. You know, and then everything will be cool. I mean, it's good. So, you know, you wanna say something?
Yeah, so currently, we've done the testing down at Sunset Park. The New Jersey DEP, we have to meet with them to see what we can build there. So the EPA and the DEP haven't approved anything yet. So we're still got to meet with them to see. So we still have to meet with them, see if it's safe, see if we can actually build anything. So we
So
don't.
if it's not safe, y'all won't build it.
Exactly.
And if you do build it,
Then,
there will be
yeah.
a clause in there that everybody get $400 million.
I don't know about But yes, we're not going to build anything that's not safe.
Okay, I'm just saying, but you know, people got, you know, not by y'all, but y'all know, y'all seen the election that just went down with Trump and all that. A lot of lies be told. So they don't say now that it's safe, and they'll build a park, and then 60 years down the line, somebody's here, go with 3 arms and their head will fall off. And then they must say, oh, you know. So I'm just saying, just have to make the citizens feel safe. Just put a clause in there, and if somebody's head falls off, or they go through your arms, you'll give $400 million. Multiplied by everybody to get that's happening. And then we'll feel more comfortable, you'll feel the park.
Brother, we got a couple more, people.
All right, that's where I'm going.
No, I agree with that. I just want to state that we haven't approved anything down at Sunset yet. It is that is a possible reclamation for a former landfill. You can build parkland. It's been done in other areas, so that is a potential. That's why we're doing it. That's why we're investigating, I should say, the potential down there. So I just want to clarify, you did have information that it can be done, as long as it's approved and signed off by DEP, EPA, all of our professionals.
But now, if EPA lied to y'all, and then we got lied to, nobody ain't getting $400 million, right?
Well, you see that. Got a couple lawyers in the panel, so let them be out there.
Okay, at this time, I'd like to go ahead and bring forth.
Push for your $400 million.
Freddie,
lied to every day.
what's that happen?
Oh, no. What's your name for? Oh, I'm good. Y'all hear me back here? You know, I'll be in the prison.
Yeah.
I want to introduce, real fast, Mr. Miller, he's been a little late, sitting in the quiet crowd back there. Other thing I just want to say, I want Sean to read the scripture, incident that happened somewhere else, and then we're going to go on with this part.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Sean A. Reynolds. I grew up here in this town. I'm going to read this article. I believe it's out of Long Branch, New Jersey.
Hello?
The title of it is
Yeah.
the Seaview Manor Project and the surrounding areas still contaminated?
Yes, it is.
Seaview Manor Project and the surrounding areas have been contaminated for years.
Yeah, I'm gonna meet over
For
there.
years.
It's still good, but I'm in the meeting.
Check for yourself. Just look at the white stuff that has workers are digging up, putting into the ground. If he was protected, what about the people who lived there? Many people who have lived in the area have died from various diseases, and people are still having ongoing problems with pollution that is buried under the ground. Many people have been affected by contaminated areas. They want justice for their loved ones.
Speak up, Sean, I can't hear you.
Hey, speak up, people.
They want justice for the loved ones that have passed away and who have been left out of previous lawsuits. problem with the first lawsuit is that not all people had an opportunity to participate in the suit. And now, gas companies are taking that I don't care attitude about the situation. There was a company meeting held several months ago where the focal point was about what they were going to do about the cleanup of the contaminated areas. They assured the people would be 100% protected from exposed dangerous toxins. Geologists sat in the meeting room at Brookdale Community College and were told of the concerns by the citizens that they had nothing to worry about. Several scientific laws tell us that nothing is 100% proven. Now they may be 99.9% confident that the contamination could be contained, but not 100% proven, especially when you're dealing with water and other earthly factors. They were called out on a false statement, and the geologists didn't have any acceptable answer for the people that were highly upset and concerned because they knew or they had lived in those areas. Even when Hurricane Sandy hit the shores area, there were no way for the scientists and people who worked for the gas company to possibly have answered all of the water that was pushed toxin above the ground levels, exposing the people in the area for more toxin. This worst case scenario that people of the area fear. Many people have died in this area. Even an ex-NFL football player, Sam Mills, who played for several years on professional teams, had life taken away from us way too early. There are many people who have passed from this unknown reason, stemming from the poor environmental reasons. Many people have passed away from cancer, lupus, asthma, many other deadly diseases. Someone sure has to pay. If it's the gas company, pay once, they can do it again. They have the money and the resources to help these people. You have to live in this. You have lived or currently living in the area of the Toxic Sea, View Manor area, and you have missed out on any lawsuits to compensate you for your pain and suffering. Please fill out the form below. Even if you were included in the previous lawsuit, you are still experiencing medical problems. Please fill it out too. This database will be used by lawyers to build a confident case against the gas company. Thank you.
Next, I want to introduce Slick Ashby. Have something to say.
Good evening, can you hear me? First thing I'd like to say, the man, gentleman, councilman, whatever, that said we were allowed to build on the landfill, I just got 2 words for him: Love Canal. You all remember Love Canal? You know what happened up there? Look it up. On the landfill, and all the houses, people were dying and everything. So, that being said, I would like to go back to the first question that the young man asked up front here. He asked about access to the park, and I'd like to ask the Parks and Recreation Director, if we Red Bank residents wanted to get together and just go down there and have a ball game, we wouldn't be allowed to go down there and walk right on the field and have a ball game, would we? Like, I mean, a baseball game, say, me and a couple of friends got together and we wanted to go down there and have a baseball game. It's always people from out of town, other leagues, people that don't live in Red Bank Catholic, they're always down there using our fields that our money paid for. But if we want to go down there and use that field, we don't have access to it. Is that correct?
No.
Why not?
The only time...
Excuse me, Mr. Sickles, I asked the Parks and Recreation Director.
I understand that, but I think I have the answer.
But I would like to have his answer because he's in charge
Go
of
ahead.
Parks and Recreation.
Sure. Can everybody hear me?
Let's go.
Good.
I'm gonna have trouble being loud. Yeah, so as far as usage to the fields, you're right, Red Bank Catholic, charter school, middle school, and St. James.
Baseball leagues, softball leagues, from out of town.
Yeah, most of that is done by 5:30. And as far as the usage from 5:30 on, those are all in-town teams. The only baseball you see right now is Little League, which you have to live in Red Bank or go to school in Red Bank to use. And we have one softball team right now.
When I go down there, I see all the fields occupied and I don't see anybody that I recognize from Red Bank.
Is that after 5:30?
That's all the time. I go through the right off.
Okay, and generally, the grass fields are available in the evening. Field 5 specific, I mean, look at the schedule now. Field 5 is usually available, Field 4, and we get calls all the time. Hey, we have a family event, we have a work place thing. We can always squeeze you guys in. So just let me know, we'll get you in. As far as just drop-in use, yeah, we're typically, the grass fields are open. I'll admit Field 1 and Field 2 are pretty tight usually at night, but again, that's our Little League or our soccer that's on it most of the time. There's not a ton, I have a list of who's using the fields as far as out-of-town groups. From 5:30 on, it's almost exclusively.
So we gotta wait till 5:30 to go on the field.
I'm sorry, sir?
We gotta wait till 5:30 to go on the field. We gotta wait till 5:30 to use our
This is
field.
on weekdays. Now, weekends, it's a little bit different.
No, see, we gotta wait, we from Red Bank.
Sure,
I said, we come first.
sure.
We come first. Yeah, everybody else, we come first, we from Red Bank. We pay taxes here. Hey, nice. That's right.
Well, again,
Ain't no gay. Answer my question.
the question is, do you have to wait until
Yeah,
5:30?
why do you have to wait?
I got the podium, please. Thank you.
Okay, all right, Slick, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Slick.
And I don't totally agree with you that we have the access, but I will test that out. Believe me, I will test that out. Also, I'd like to ask you about the tax issue, and I know Mr. Sickles is probably going to jump in on this one as the mayor. I'd like to have him acknowledge this as well. A couple of years ago, you guys privatized the sanitation department, and we had a lot of extra workers that worked in the sanitation department. But when I get outside that department, I see a private contractor cutting the grass. Now, I'm a taxpayer in Red Bank, and I think that we can use those guys that was on the sanitation department to cut the grass in Red Bank, unless the Greenleaf contractor that's cutting the grass is related to somebody on the council. I don't see how you can get these contracts to cut the grass when we got extra men who do the snow in the park. How come they can't cut the grass in the park? Can you answer me that question? And I'm a taxpayer and I want to see my taxes go down. And I think if we're paying these guys on the borough payroll and salary, how come they can't push a lawnmower in the park?
Again, that is a great question. The answer to that is that we are looking out for your tax dollar, and that the Greenleaf contract has been $45,000 for the last 3 years. There is no way that I can hire people to cut the grass for
But
$45,000.
you already had people on the borough payroll that was working for the sanitation department.
Absolutely, and they do. Everyone from sanitation was retained when we went to we changed that over, and those 6 people filled 11 vacancies that were
How
open.
come they couldn't fill the pushing the lawnmower when they could do the snow in the park? I see them out here in the winter, and they're using the snow blowers. It's harder to do snow than it is to cut grass.
Oh, I agree.
So how come they can't push the mower? Why are we
Because they're-
still agreeing with this contract, and we got people on salary that could do this job?
Because they are doing other things all year long.
As far as...
That's a good thing too. And remember, when they're pushing snow, a lot of times that's overtime.
Well, not when they're, well, that's true too, but we have to pay the overtime for the safety of the town. But that's not my issue there, the overtime. My issue there was using them to cut the grass. And I don't know why we can't. I don't see why we can't, because I think we need to pay to somebody in the township.
We can pay them overtime to do it.
Okay, that being said, now, let's...
$45,000.
Yeah, right.
Greenleaf.
Now, yeah, right.
Whoever that is.
Shouldn't we?
Well, that, sir, I understand your point exactly, and I think what we would need to do, to your point, that's a great point. The question is it cheaper to pay the guys overtime to do the grass?
They don't have to get overtime.
Or is it cheaper to do the 45,000? That's an analysis that I can do, and we'll look at that. That's a great idea.
I don't think they
Thank
have
you.
to do it as an overtime job, yes, I think they can do it on working hours. Number one. Number two, that being said, let's go back to this park down the dump. You have signs at the end of Bergen Place, 50 yards away from where this proposed park is, saying that there's contamination in the water, there's lead, there's EPA investigations going on, and you want to move forward and put a park less than 50 yards away, and they haven't even completed this survey. They saying you can't get shellfish out the water, they saying no fishing down there, and yet 50 yards away, you're going to put a park that you want kids to play in. You know kids play in water, you know that there could be a hazard there. So I don't understand the logic behind putting a park where you would have contamination dumped for over 100 years, and you don't know what's down there. It could be lead or anything. And I'm not even saying wait for the environmental protection. I'm saying it's a bad idea from the start. Thank you.
Yeah, if I could just share some information with you. I understand about the Seabrook incident. It used to be the gas company owns the lot. I believe it was a former coal plant that the gas company ended up buying, or whatever plant there was. Back when that property was sold and developed for residential, they didn't have all these testing resources or rules or requirements that they have now. They went ahead, they sold the property, somebody came in and built it, and nobody tested the soils, nobody went dug down and did test wells, nobody checked the extent of contamination, and that's the result. We talked to DEP years ago about what we can do with this landfill. We were worked with them to close the landfill. They ordered us to close it because we couldn't burn trash anymore because of the environmental, smoke going into the air and carbon emissions, etc. We had to start hauling our trash over to Monmouth County.
Got too many investigators.
We had to close down the landfill. We had to put in test monitoring wells for over 20 years and test the runoff from the landfill. And that was all done by DEP order. After that 20 years, they said, okay, now you got to start cleaning this place up. The first step was to demolish the incinerator building. Before we could demolish it, we had to test all the soot in the stack. We had to bring people in, drop them down by ropes, go inside, test it, see what it was. We had to rinse it and scour it to get rid of any airborne contaminants, so when we demolished it, there'd be no dust. And while they were demolishing it, we had hose lines there to keep the dust down. And we were working with the DEP on doing that with the building. Then we talked to the DEP, what can we do to reclaim this property for public use? Just let it sit? Let the barrels that are still along the waterfront that happened years ago before I was, reading and writing, we're going to let that sit there, or we're going to do something with it to make it useful to the residents. And what was suggested is we could test it, we'll test it, and then once we've done all the testing, then we can come up with a way of containing all that, capping it, because right now it's not capped. You walk through that site, there's nothing protecting you from what was there other than a layer of dirt and some mulch. So we tested it. DEP funded all of it. For the last 10 years, we've been doing tests and wells, and every time we come up with a test, they said, well, the contamination is spread, it's a little far, let's test that. We were able to delineate how far the contamination is, do all the testing everything from not only what's below the ground, what's seeping near the ground, what it is and where it's going. We tested birds. We find dead birds, they test them. We find bugs, they test them. And they took even the minnows out of the water to test to see if there's any traces of contamination. And some of that contamination might be coming from fertilizer upstream, but some of it maybe leaching out from the soil. So we did all that testing. The testing is about 2 manuals thick. And the DEP says, all right, the way to reclaim that for public use is to cap it, contain it, cap it, okay? And the capping is you level it, you put a impervious barrier on top and around it to contain it, and then you cover it with soil which is mixed with powdered concrete, so when you roll it and tamp it, and it becomes hard, and that becomes a hard cap. Then whatever you do on top of that is you put another 3 feet minimum of undisturbed soil on top, and on top of that, you do what you want to do. And so that's the process. I'm trying to explain the process. This is not going to be, oh, we're just going to put some turf on top of the dirty soil and create a park. We're working with the DEP on what we could do, how it can be done safely. And we're at that step now of identifying that and then reaching out to the public. What would you like to see there if we do all that? Nothing's been decided other than the fact they will fund it. They funded 100% of all the testing, and they will fund 75% of the rest of the project if we want to go forward. But the town's not going to go forward until we come up with a plan that is safe and that gets the involvement of the community to put there what you want. And it's not going to be a theme park where people are coming from buses. We want to make a neighborhood park that the residents can enjoy. And that's the goal, and that's the plan. And whatever else you've been told, it's not true. Nothing's decided. We're trying to work it to make it safe. We're trying to get input, what you want to see. And once we decide on a plan that everybody can embrace, we're going to do it in such a way that you don't have to worry about environmental contamination. All right? I have a family that's been affected by possible environmental contamination. I have missing fingers, missing limbs. All right? And I never played at that park. Okay, so I'm very acutely aware of the effects of contamination. I'm a hazardous materials instructor. I know about the carcinogens and how things get into the environment and everything else. So I know the council is committed to creating something that's safe and to get the community input of what you want to see, so that that now becomes a gem and an asset to the town, not a detriment.
Excuse me. My name is Philip Rock. I was in Canada. I've been living in Red Bank for the last 64 years. Before Tilton Avenue was a paved road, it was a dirt road. I lived right by the incinerator. I worked at the incinerator. I pulled the garbage from the incinerator, and I dumped the garbage outside into where a bulldozer could pull it back into the grounds. That ground is not safe. It would never be safe. There were body parts from the church, from the hospital, that was dumped there and burned there. There was dogs. It was infested with rats. It was dusty. I was a kid working there because my father had the job before he became the truck driver. You can't build nothing on that property. I don't care what no DEP say. I don't care what you test. It's not safe. It would never be safe. Now, my next question is, when you had all these things tested, was anything found?
In the ground.
Yeah, it's in the ground. And eventually it's going to come back up again. I don't care how long or what you put on top of it, cement, because I'm telling you, there was so many rats down there that we used a fire hose to blow them out of the building. Okay? There was so much dust that we had to use masses. Before I could even play sports and do my homework, I had to help my father clean out the incinerator. And it was hot, and it was dusty, and it was full of rats, and it was full of everything. Even my pet dog was thrown in the hole to be burned. It's impossible. You can't clean that spot. I don't care what you do to it. It's no good. Don't do it. don't accept it. My last question is, who's gonna pay for that?
Right now, nothing, no Red Bank tax dollars have been spent on what's been done so far.
I hear what you're saying, and I find it hard to believe. You know what I mean? I've watched Red Bank go from one kind of place to another kind of place. You know, it's not the same when I was a kid. I don't expect it to be. But the things that are going on in Red Bank, it's not as bad as they say it is. I was told that the west side is a drug infested area. It's not all infested area. You know what I mean? People wouldn't even come over on this side of town. I can't understand why you take Dr. Parker Boulevard, go to Broad Street, and then turn it back into Burton Place. Dr. Parker served everybody. What happened to that? What's going on with that? These things. But, in making a long story short, don't build nothing down there. It's not safe for nobody. Not even your own kids. Not even for yourself.
I'm sorry, I don't mean to cut you off. I personally have to leave. I have a wedding to attend. I have to leave. I wanted to just tell everybody, I have cards here. My cell phone is on there, my borough email. If you have any questions, you can contact me. Happy to follow up with you. I apologize I have to leave early. Thank you, Freddie, for the invitation to be here. Mayor, if you want to come sit in my seat under the hot lights, you're certainly welcome to.
You said do EP study and everything, public money. Does the public have access to information?
Yeah, we're going to scan that document and put it on the website so it's available.
All the whole document, the whole study, so the public.
I mean, the document's like this big.
Yeah, I know, but the whole thing you want to have.
Yes.
Okay.
Anyway, well, I don't know where to start at, Mr. Sipples. You say test the ground, and you cap it, and it's supposed to stop that. Well, my own daycare center right down the street down here. If I mind asking, Mr. Sipples, those kids can't play in that playground out there because it's contaminated. And they dug, they capped it, they dug, they capped it. How long has that been going on, Mr. Sipples?
You know, that's not exactly true, Fred.
It's not.
Oh, let me. I know the facts. So let me tell you. Mama Daycare Center used to be a dairy, right? Go back there. Then we had Walter. There was a company there that sold fire equipment. There was a taxi business there. There was a repair garage in the back. It was used for commercial purposes. And then Mama Daycare bought the building. Again, before there were any requirements to test the ground. Long before there were any rules or even the science to do it. The state, there were some daycare centers opened up in Newark, I believe, in old factory buildings. And people got sick from those buildings and from the grounds. And they were like chemical factories. And as a result of that problem, the state passed a rule that any daycare center, licensed daycare center, before it can get re-licensed, when the license has to be renewed, if they don't have test reports in their file, then they have to get the grounds tested. Okay? So, about 20 years after daycare was there, they went and tested underneath. They had a rubber cap on top and the playground equipment. But they had to dig through that. They had to open that and get down and test the soil. Now that property is actually owned by the Board of Ed. And they had an agreement when the Board of Ed didn't need they built a new high school, they didn't need that area anymore. If you remember, I played in that playground. You probably played in that playground. When they moved out of there and we weren't using it, they said, can we use that? We'll fix it up. We'll keep a gate in so the public can use it. but we'll fix it up, and we put playground equipment there. So the board agreed. It was underutilized by our people, our residents, because we were using the newer playground down the other end of the park, and we agreed to it. Well, about 3 years ago, they went up for renewal of the license, or 3 or 4 years ago, they found a contamination below the surface, which was covered. And they had to, part of the fix is, they agreed to take out the top layer that was contaminated, put in clean fill, put a membrane down, and put in clean fill, and put grass on it. That's what happened. It was they found it, they had stopped using it for years, then they worked with the board to come up with a plan, and they excavated the top dirty soil, they put a barrier down, they put 3 feet of clean soil on top, and they seeded. And it's fenced off now. But that's the story.
Okay, let me finish what I gotta say, Mr. Sipples, before you interrupt. You said a couple weeks ago at Pilgrim Baptist Church, when I brought it up to you, you said it was an ongoing thing for 10 years. Now you're changing your mind in here. Well, let me go, whoa. Let me finish everything I gotta say, Mr. Sipples. Because I know you wanna get your part out and clear for this now. Let me finish. You said that at Pilgrim Baptist Church, I remember, 10 years has been an ongoing thing down there. Right now, those kids can't come out there and play down there. It's fenced in. Right now, they can't play down there. That's right. Locust Landing, it's contaminated down there. It was a big house, 2 houses down there. All tanks was in the ground. And I was at the council meeting when a young lady approached you, and she told you right in your face, Mr. Sipples, I'm not here to attack no councilman, chief of police, or the mayor, but I just want to put the facts out here straight. If you're going to do something, be honest with these people. And the lady told you, when she asked you about Locust Landing, and she told you what she said years ago, it's a swamp area, it's muddy down there. You're barking to your ankle if you walk out there. But then still, y'all fought hard to try to put that down there. You had the people come to the council meeting. I was there at every council meeting. They packed that place. Said they didn't want it down there. Now you want to throw this down here at the landfill in our face. We're better than to play on the dump area. I was raised up at 128 West Side Avenue, right by the dump. Okay, my father worked down there at night, cleaning the incinerator out, just like Mr. Rock. I can tell you where every hot spot there it is and down that hill down there. I know what we've done when we couldn't pick up the garbage and take it out to the landfill. We had to take it down there and the bulldozer had to cover it up. You had about 13 gas stations in Red Bank. They brought all their motor oil and all their stuff down there and dumped it down there. Just like the man said, the hospital. I told you about that. I know, I worked down there. Then you had, just the other day, Sunday, I made a phone call to the police department. I went to Tilton and West Bergen. The sewer, raw sewer running out on top in the drain system. Did I call the officer, Mr. Clint? Huh? Yes, so, Mr. Sipples, these things you don't bring up. That's not fixed down there. And I've been down there. I go down there. You got asbestos, you got paint down there. You had, I think some of y'all people know, where was the Asbury Park Press at years ago, Mr. Sipples? Right here in Red Bank. One of the biggest fires that they had right here in Red Bank over there by Cedar Crossing Mat. Remember, Mr. Sipples? And when that place burnt down, it was one of the biggest fires that they had in Red Bank. I remember that. I was a little kid. And you know what they done? They cleaned it up. But all the toxic waste that they had in barrels, they brought it down before the sunset. And you want to know something? I had a man, he living right now. He was working as a foreman, sanitation driver. And he was the one who told me, Freddie, they dumped it all down there. Now you want to dig cabinet. You're going to be retired pretty soon. You're not going to be here. But you know, Mr. Sipples, I have something to say to you. You know, I lost 2 kids. And you know, I don't know how many people in here lost a child, a grandchild, or the feeling. You don't have the feelings to see a baby laying in the hospital.
All right. All right. All right, Fred. Take your time. Take your time. Breathe.
I can see my son laying in the hospital with needles and tubes running all out of his head. Can't hardly see, can't talk. 8 months old, he was in Riverview. Left Riverview, went to Long Branch. Left Long Branch in a helicopter to go to New York because he's had infection. And you're gonna sit here and say, you're concerned about these kids' safety out here? No, not concerned about these kids' safety. Then I had a daughter, just a couple years ago, ran track for Red Bank Regional High School. She's not here. You know where she at, Mr. Circles? I bought this. You know where my daughter at? You know, it's a shame. This is where my daughter at. You know, you don't have the feeling to know what a child, what a parent go through when they lose a loved one. This is where my daughter at. She's no longer here. This is all I got to show for her. And you want to know what else I got, Mr. Circles? I want to show you this. This is my son's funeral. I just want to pass this on to you. That's the feeling that you get when you lose a loved one. And then you want to put something in the area down here contaminated. No, that's not the right place. Because you know what? You're buying us out. They don't want us on the field down here, period. Okay? Red Bank Catholic wants this field. Okay? So they figure they'll give us a little bit of money to push us closer to the highway out there. And then we'd be out of Red Bank. And they have the whole town to themselves. It's not going to work. Because you know why? I'll stand on my 2 feet and fight hard as I can to stop it from being down there. I don't think you will let your kids play down there, Mr. Circles. And it's wrong to sit here and say you're going to cap it. When I have my truck, you know about it, Mr. Circles. I used to take steel up in Jersey City to these places for contaminated site where they dig down in the ground and cap it. And the man told me, Mr. Circles, you know what the man told me? I don't care how much you put on top of this, it's still going to come to the surface. West Side Avenue. You know what West Side Avenue stopped at? Well, if you really want to, it'll go straight across to Chapin Avenue. If you've ever been down there, you can walk from West Side Avenue straight across to Chapin Avenue. I done played all through that, Mr. Circles. I done played through there. Then you come up. I respect you and everything. Y'all brought up that you want behind the primary school down here. You want to make a special road to go behind the primary school. Safety of them kids. I'm with you on that. But you forgot something. You forgot something, Mr. Circles. You got a nursing home at Chapin Avenue. We got one way in.
That's right.
Get out.
That's right.
You forgot something.
That's right.
They senior citizens down there, Mr. Circles. They can't run. They can't get up that hill. But you didn't think about that one way for them down there. But if you're going to do something for this town, y'all councilmen, you got to do it for everybody.
Yes.
We're not going to be pushed off this field down here because Red Bank passed. Well, let me finish, Mr. Circles. Pay a little bit of money for this field down here. We noticed. You're not painting the colors, the same color Red Bank Catholic. I ran 32 laps around that field, Mr. Circles. That's 8 miles. 32 laps around that field. I know it's just the hard like to see it. 32 laps around that field. Every morning, 2 o'clock in the morning when I was training to fight. And then when I couldn't run in the morning, I had to run in the afternoon. And then when I ran in the afternoon, I got interfered with Red Bank Catholic track team down there. And they started telling me I was interfering with them. So I took off, started running to Asbury to keep friction down. I run to Asbury and I run back. But you know the feeling? I was living here, 81 Bank Street. I was living there, paying taxes here, and I couldn't even run on my own field out here. I paid taxes on. And remember, Mr. Circles, Bank Street, on the other side of the lake, y'all had a park down there for the kids, a little playground. Y'all tore it down and built a house there. You tore it down, Mr. Circles, and built a house there.
That's right.
You tore it down.
That's
Another thing, I worked for the borough 29.5 years. Y'all could have bought the armory for $1. $1. You turned it down.
That's right.
You sold an old police station to Red Bank Catholic. Red Bank Catholic turned around and sold it to the YMCA. If you were concerned about these kids, Mr. Circles, that would have been a beautiful building for these kids. But let me finish. Then you turn around, you let this building across the street get away from us.
Yes.
Get away from us. Right across the street, that used to be the center. And in the
YMCA.
back of that center back there is a big lot. We played back there, Mr. Circles. And I'm not here to attack you, Mr. Circles, but I'm just saying, money don't mean nothing when you lose 2 kids.
Amen.
My kids cost more. My kids to me is more than anything. Look at my granddaughter sitting right there. That's one of my granddaughters. She's a nurse. She's a nurse. And you want to know something? She don't have an uncle here to talk to. But one is gone, 8 months old. her mother was a little kid sitting on my, did you see that picture, sitting on her uncle's lap? That's a shame. When you see a baby laying in the hospital, can't see no more, can't talk no more, and can't even say mommy or daddy no more. I didn't see none one of y'all counselors come to the hospital. In my church, so I got some. My insurance was so high, Mike Unknown had to put me on a separate insurance policy. I'm telling you the facts, Mr. Simmons. Okay? I'm telling you what I know. And with all these guys, and I don't want to go back and name them, but I can name some of them. And some of them live on Bank Street in Tilton, died from cancer. I don't want to bring the family name up, but I work for the borough. Link Johnson, I bring him up, he's like a father to me. When that man left here, Mr. Simmons, he had to walk around with an oxygen tank on. You know why he had to walk around with an oxygen tank? Years he worked down there at that center bed, inhaling all of that paint and stuff that was burnt, messed his throat up when he retired. And when he laid down there in his hospital in the bed down there, I used to go see him. And you know what he said? He said, Freddie, ain't nobody from the borough came to see me. They don't care. And he said he passed you one day, Mr. Sickles, in the elevator. But I'm just saying, when you look back, I was fortunate, I was lucky. I retired, 29 and a half years. I didn't inhale all of that stuff, but all the guys are no longer here now that worked on the back of the garbage trucks are gone. Traffic line. You know where traffic line used to be? Well, where they had 2 big 3-yard dumpsters. You know what was in them? Paint. Wasted paint, gas mixed with paint. All that went in the garbage truck, went down the hill. Covered up. Covered up. Go down the hill right now. Anybody been down there? You go down there, any little kids in here, you got down there right now, Mr. Simple, condoms, needles. I go down there, walk along, down the bank. They hang out down there. We had one guy came to you at the council meeting, told you. I don't remember his name, he lived on Locust. He came home and found 2 young, a woman and a man under his hedge bush out there. On Locust. What we're making down here is another motel. That's what's going to be down here. Another motel. You wouldn't want it in your backyard. All night, the kids going to be down there. They up here. We clean up around here, clean all these churches. This is the first time, Mr. Silver, that I have seen that churches have more trash in them now than they ever did since I've been in Red Bank. We have to walk every day to pick trash up. Imagine what's down there. Did you mention a couple weeks ago, a young kid almost got drowned down there, Mr. Sickles? He fell out of the canoe. Ended up on the other side of the bridge. That's how the current took him.
That's right.
That's the current took him right under the bridge. Chief, did you get the phone call? One of y'all? I mean, it's the same. If there was a little baby, not a little baby, a little kid, he wouldn't have never made it that far. And you talk about you want to up the ground down there, Mr. Sickles, with all of that what's going on down there? You're not going to be here, Mr. Sickles. You retired. When you get on that parkway, you're not going to look back. And I got some things to say to the council, and I respect y'all. I'm not here to attack you. But when we have an issue in this town, I don't think that y'all should run to the church first. And I'm going to keep it real. Okay? Some of these ministers don't live in this town. When they get on the parkway, they don't look back. But y'all run to them. And I have to say this. Every time we have a meeting here, I want to respect the mayor, chief of police, and all the councilors for coming out. But I'm going to tell you something. Whenever we have a meeting here, Councilman Zippers, I want y'all to make a note of this. He'll never come to this lodge. But he'll go across the street. He'll go to Pilgrim. Yep. But he would never come to this lodge. Sure. This lodge is not good enough for him. But I'm not here to attack him. But he'll run around election time. Now, he just said at the council meeting that he had a fundraiser for the park down here. So if he had a fundraiser for this park down here, evidently it's already in process. Yeah. Then you're going to sit here and say it's not, Mr. Silver. It's already in the process. Why would you have a fundraiser if it wasn't in process? See, that's why I say, tell the truth and it'll set you free.
Great. I can't imagine what it would be like to lose a child.
I have lost 2 nephews long before they should have gone. But I know you went through a lot in your loss. And I sympathize with you, but I can't imagine. And all I've ever wanted to do as a public employee, and I learned this from coaching from T-ball, 4 years old, 5 years old, my oldest daughter, right down to my son, to Pop Warner. And I take these kids, we go out to a game and another playing field, and the kids say, Mr. Stickles, Coach, why can't we have what these people have? And that's a good question. Now, why can't our fields be like other people's fields? So I was able to get the support of the council to put lights in Count Basie. One of the conditions was, hey, Stanley, if you go door to door on Pearl Street, and every resident says, okay, you sign up, they got a sign saying, okay, we'll do it. And I went door to door, get everybody to put the lights on the field. And they came to council meeting. And then, when we tried to get turf years ago, because the kids were playing in mud, and the kids, Coach, why can't we have AstroTurf like these other fields? I went to the council, they priced it out, too expensive, let's sod the field. We sodded the field, paid $200,000 to get it sodded and graded and all that. Lasted 18 months. So we went back and talked with the Red Bank Catholic, who had, before me, had signed a lease with Red Bank to lease the fields. They pay a fee to use that field long before me, because we didn't have a high school football team in rec. So they would lease it for their teams and share it with our public schools and share it with Parks and Rec. And they came to me and said, we'll give you $500,000 to put turf on that field. So they're paying for the first field $50,000 a year for 10 years to help fund that field. They aren't getting it for free. Nobody's giving it to them. They help pay for it. Then they came back. This worked out so well. We got the soccer fields all muddy and screwed up, and the baseball field, we got somebody who's going to give us money up front, and we'll fund $500,000 for that field. So they're paying $1 million for use of that field, and we're getting benefit. Our kids are getting fields that other kids have. And they're taking care of it, and they enjoy it, and they like it, and they're proud of it. So that's the story behind Red Bank Catholic. They pay for that because we don't have varsity teams. And we get the benefit, they have to do it during the school day, they have to share it with the charter in the middle school, and for their teams, it's team sport. When we were in high school, nobody could go on that field when the high school was there. Rules haven't changed, it's just different players. So we have a beautiful facility that was improved in partnership. We found partners that were willing to pay and improve those fields. When we talk about the YMCA, the Red Bank Catholic bought from the YMCA. And we still have a 99-year lease to keep a firehouse there and keep that building. Everybody wanted to tear that town hall down. And we paid, or they paid, to repay all that, $600,000 worth of improvements, and we have a 99-year lease for that and the memorial to keep it there. That was the only way we could keep it. Now, there are other places, Liberty State Park and some other, there's a park in East Brunswick, and there's places all over the state where cities and towns have taken contaminated property and put parks years ago, and they're safe. And they've done it. We aren't creating this. This isn't new science. This isn't something we invented. This is something that came to us and say, oh, we'll fund this, right? Under this program is designed to reclaim bad property and make it safe. That's what the money's for. And we're do the assessment to determine what's there, and that will dictate what we have to do to make it safe, so that you will have a nice place in your neighborhood instead of an old dump that still lingers. Right now, there's no protection. There's no, it could run off, it could have torrential rains and it could shift, and we want to contain it and cap it and make it safe. That's the goal. And then put something on top that everybody can enjoy. And it's not designed to be a sports field. It's not designed to kick people off that field. It's designed to create something else for the neighborhood. It's not designed to bring teams from out of town with busloads of strangers that leave their trash. It's designed to be for the neighborhood. That's always been the mission of everybody that's been up here. We want to create that for the neighborhood and make it safe. And we got state money, and the state's getting federal money, and why should not we take advantage of that, what other towns have, and they're happy with it and they're successful with it. Long Branch had a problem in that site where they didn't do all that. But they also have sites that they have. There's a contaminated site over here in Shrewsbury. They just built a bunch of townhouses, old borough buses. They used to dump their stuff there. That was all contaminated. They put townhouses up there. They have no basements. They're on top. They capped it. They built on top. There's sites all over New Jersey that they've done it. We aren't inventing this. This is something that's been done all over the place. And our job, and their job when I retire, is to make sure, whatever they do, the first thing is the safety of the community, and the second thing is to build something the community can be proud of. And that's the goal.
Mr. Sipples, I respect that, but you know, I told you before at the church, when I met Eric, up at Friday, meet him up there several times. First thing he told me, he was running for councilman, was to put a park. And I told him, the hot spots. I told him the hot spots. Right here. Ever since 2014, petition right here. 350 singers for Locust Landing. Everybody wanted to park down there. The people came to the council meeting and raised that they didn't want it. They didn't put it down. This is the singers that haven't done that. 350s right here. Now, they stood together and didn't get it down here. Now you bring an excuse down here. You ever been out to Asbury Avenue? Take a ride. Past the landfill, all the way to the end. Take a ride. It's a landfill back there. The borough used to dump garbage back there. There's nothing on it, Mr. Sipples. There's nothing on it. They got signs. Danger. Don't enter. No trespassing. Got witnesses in here to tell you that. Goes all the way out to the auction out there. 34. That's how far that property goes. Nothing but mountains. Not the landfill where you take the garbage at. On the other side of that. That's right. It's all contaminated. Nothing back there. You can't even go back there. Period. So the pictures that you showed at Pilgrim a couple weeks ago, I looked at them pictures. I'm not no lawyer, not no doctor. But those pictures you showed about them parks, they had buildings around downtown. Ain't no dump downtown. You know that, Mr. Sipples. Those pictures, let's stop fooling these people. Ain't no dump downtown that you're going to put a park on. That's not a contaminated area. No park goes. I looked at those pictures good. They're nice pictures. But see, we got a problem down here because it's contaminated and it's near the water. And you know these kids, they mess up down the Marine Park. How many times we done got this? Little lockers, garbage cans, all of that. Bandit, they done tore it up down there. Y'all put new toilets in down there. Y'all put new toilets in. You know, you had a man came to the council meeting and said, you know, it's a shame that the tennis court's down there. When you open your front door and you look out at the tennis court and all you see is trees growing up, weeds and this and that. You know what I got up, you know what I spoke, right, Mr. Sipples? I got up and I said, you know, all these years I worked in, lived in Red Bank, when we open up the door over here, you know what we see? A junkyard. Open your door. How long? Like I told him. Would you like to open the door and see a junkyard metal this high up? Some of y'all councilors on the bench was here before I came. Before some of the new ones came. I've been at every council meeting, arguing about crosswalks on Shube Avenue. You got senior citizens in wheelchairs, you got senior citizens in crutches. I even went to the county. Nothing done. Nothing, Mr. Sickles. We argue about right here. Nothing. I got hit right out there in the front one night. Man came up the street. Oh, right there? Hit me, knocked the soda can out my hand. Went around the corner.
You get chased down.
Chase it down. I was trying to help another guy on crutches to come across the street. The guy swerved. And when he swerved, I seen him coming. Only thing I could do is get back. Not, is I lying?
Yeah, like that.
And kept going. But you got a daycare center across here. Kids got to run to get across the street. We ask for things on this side of town, we don't get it, Mr. Cycles. And don't tell me, because it'll always come up, that Shube Avenue is a county road. We don't want to go down that county road, because I can name them, Front Street, Broad Street, Branch Ave, all of them are county roads. Right down there by Rip and Catholic, they push a button, lights start blinking, for them to slow up. We don't get that over here. We don't get it over here. But you want to fight hard to put park down here. What about the senior citizen at River Street Commons? Can't get to the store over here.
That's right.
They're in a wheelchair.
That's right.
I may have to put a motor on it to get across the street now because the barrier ain't pushing fast enough. See, these are the things that I'm concerned about. And I walk the neighborhood all over. And I walk the neighborhood. And I'm going to continue to walk the neighborhood. But it's wrong. Y'all can jump up and have a fundraiser for this park down here already in process, having a fundraiser. And I think it's wrong, Mr. Simmons. I know I got more to say, but I'm gonna let some other people talk right now. Thank you.
Two red bags.
Hello, my name is Lillian Severs, and I live here on Bank Street. I just want to ask, do any of you live here in Red Bank? All of you do?
On the east side.
On the east side?
West side.
Okay, so your kids actually would come over here and play on the stuff that you want to build a park on?
I live on west side.
Because I just don't think it's safe. I don't know much about it. I'm not a scientist, but it just doesn't seem safe to me, and I don't think you guys should do it. And my question is, if we get a petition signed, could this stop everything? So you wouldn't have to keep coming to these meetings, because it's obvious 99% of the people who live over here don't want it. And I know you want to make it beautiful and all that stuff, but a playground is just not feasible to me. So if we have a petition signed saying just stop everything, would that end all this chaos?
No.
Let me try to answer that, okay? Your question is a good one. And this meeting is a good idea. And any discussion that I think we get from neighbors is always good. There are two issues. The issue is that we have an existing site that is a contaminated site, and everybody agrees it's contaminated. And everyone agrees, and I certainly remember when I was growing up, that it was a dump. So the first question is, do we continue with the scientific cleanup and the research that is being paid for by the state? And I think we have an obligation to do that, to clean it up, to get the no further action letter by the Department of Environmental Protection, and to take the money that is available for us to find out exactly what the parameters of contamination are, to try to contain it, and do as much as we can, because that's better for everybody. Second step is what comes after. So your question, I believe, is if there is a public desire, there's a public consensus that the public would like the council to review and to rethink some issues that have been discussed in the public domain, the council has an obligation to listen to that. The council has an obligation to review it, and we all have an obligation to listen to what people want and take a second look. None of us are infallible in any decisions that we make. We all listen to other people's opinion, and hopefully we can be guided. So, petitions, input is good, but I think it would be wrong for us to put a brake on the cleanup, the contamination, the research, the containment, because we can't stop that. That has to go on, unfortunately, the state's paying for it.
No, that's a good idea. I'm not saying to stop that. You should want to.
The second thought, we can talk about it, and any input is helpful to the council.
Okay, but yeah, it's okay to go on with the cleanup, but I don't think you're going to contaminate it. I don't think it's ever going to be safe, ever. That's like I had a tree in my backyard. I got it cut down, they put something on the top so the tree wouldn't grow, it stopped. But the weeds still grew around it, so it's never going to be fully, non-contaminated. So I think y'all should really think about that, because it's not a good idea.
Well, like I said, I spoke briefly to Eric a few seconds ago. I mentioned something in his ear, and I think that our focus has to be on the cleanup. Because safety is first and foremost, and frankly, at the end of the day, even if we spend money on designs and schematics and drawings and planning considerations, the state DEP could say to us, we don't think it should be anything other than a overview or overlook or something like that. So I'm not necessarily sure that we should go too far into the future planning design and spend a lot of money on that until we have a clearer picture as to what the state will actually permit. And I think that's the saner thing to do.
So you're not saying that it's really going to be a park. It's going to be something, but maybe not a park. Is that what you're saying?
No, what I'm saying is the council has thought that a good planning tool would be to develop it as a park. That's been in the works for a while. The council thought it would be a good idea to develop it as a park. What I am suggesting is that, although that might be a good idea, ultimately, but let's get number one out of the way. Let's figure out if it is cleaned up, what they will tell us what we can do. There are different types of parks out there. There are parks with playgrounds, as we've talked about. There are parks with splash features. There may be parks with, amusement areas. There may be dog parks. There may be passive parks. There may be overlooks. And a lot of towns that have contaminated sites, the DEP has turned around to them and said, look, you might have great plans for this area, but because of the scientific information that has been gleaned from all these years of studies and research, we don't think that it should be an active park. It has to be just an overlook or something like that. So there are different types of proposals, and all I'm suggesting is that if the community wants us to put a brake on spending a lot of money on design specifications for something that may have to be reviewed in the future, maybe it's a good idea for us to start putting a little brake on how much money we spend on the actual technical details and concentrate on cleaning it up first.
Yes.
Okay, so is that a yes or no on the petition?
Yeah, I can't, I think if you think about what happened at Marine Park, if you followed down there, there were several proposals for several different things to do. And there were some people that passionately wanted tennis courts, and other people passionately wanted, what was that, the Jetson proposal, which was, mini golf and other things. And then there was a third group of people that really wanted the voting. So what we did was we went out and we asked people what they wanted, and we got a lot of input. And in that case, there were people, there was not a prevailing consensus on any one thing. And so Eric now leading us through what we're ultimately going to do down there. But what we did not do is we did not go forward with the mini golf because people were not in favor of that, and they let us know. And we did not do, the tennis courts because a lot of people actually did not want them. So Eric is now tasked working very closely with Charlie to understand what people really do want down there. So, to the mayor's point, I don't think there's a legal, if we get enough signatures, we won't do anything. But we do want to know what people will want to see done, and we do follow that. So your voice has an impact.
I was at the meeting when it was held at Pilgrim Baptist Church, and I had gotten the understanding that it was going to be a park. Okay, that was the understanding, because I even remember someone standing up and said, are you telling us or are you asking us? I mean, there were pictures down there showing the different designs of parks, but the pictures is not here tonight. People were tagging what they would like, which park they would like to see on Sunset. Now, I'm not against a park for the children. Don't get me wrong. I would love to see a park on the west side for the children. But the fact is, I'm strictly for education. A park is seasonable. They play in the spring, the fall, and the summer. What about the winter? Build a center down there for the kids. Someplace where they can go after school, have tutors there for them. A lot of these kids, they come out of school, they can't even read. Years ago, there was a YMCA right across the street for the black community, and the kids would go there after school. In those days, parents didn't have computers, and a lot of us right here don't have a computer, because we're living on the west side, not the east side. I think these kids should have a place where they could go, where there's computers that they have access to. I think they could go and have home economic classes, you know? In order for our kids to learn anything about cooking, they gotta go to lunch break. Why can't our kids have a learning center down at the end of Sunset instead of a park? You're talking about, oh, you know, in the summer it's a nice place where the families can go and enjoy the scenery and what. I myself would not go down there. I'm over 70 years old. I lived down there. I know what was down there. I'm not just saying, oh, well, there's other places and it's, the parks are all right, they never had any problem. That's other places. It's not saying this is going to be like the other places. You're saying that Shrewsbury build condos on a contaminated site. Well, if they can build condos where people can live, why can't you build something down there for a low-income rental for people to live?
I can answer the questions. Shrewsbury site was not a landfill. It was just stuff poured into the ground. It's still packed ground.
It's still tough.
The landfill down here is not compacted. It's soft. The first thoughts, the first direction that the council members at the time wanted to go was to build a community pool at the landfill. And the engineer says, can't do it because it's not stable enough to support a structure. And so then the direction turned to a park. And one of the reasons it was turned to a park because that was something that the DEP had found is an acceptable and efficient and a desirous reclamation of these landfills. And again, they've done it over in a lot of different communities. So when we applied for the funding, first for the demolition of the incinerator, it was with the goal of reclaiming it for public use, recreational use of some sort. It wasn't designed what it was going to be. And we got the grant to tear down the building. And then to get the funding to do all the extensive costly testing, I think it was about $700,000 worth over the 10-year period. It was with the understanding that we were trying to create a public space, recreational opportunities for the community. So, and we had public hearings on those applications. And the public supported it at that time. And this is the first real opposition this year that we've ever heard on this effort that's been going on for over 10 years. And that's where the funding, that's why we got the funding. That was thought to be the most effective way of reclaiming it for public use. It's been done in other areas. Maybe we need to better educate the public on the methods. We haven't really discussed the methods. The next step is to discuss how we're going to cover it and cap it to make it safe. if we wanted to pull everything out, we'd have to go down about 60 feet. And we have to build a bulkhead to keep the river from coming in while we did that. So, and that would cost about $10 million just to do that. And take everything out. So those are some of the, we've been through hundreds of hours, thousands of hours over the past 10 years. What can we do? What's the testing show? What's an option? What will work? What won't work? And I can't show all those details. I can't remember them all with you now because this has been going on for probably 20 years. And trying to, what can we do? And we had to wait until they got done with the wells and the 20-year closure plan was done. And then we had to apply for the grant for the demolition. And we had to test that. Then we had to apply for, meet with them and other things. Again, luckily, taxpayers didn't pay for it. And we're trying to find things that we can do to make it nice and safe and acceptable for the community, but with public funding other than taxpayers.
Okay, so now you're saying, I just have a question. The young lady who's standing here before me, do we have a choice? Yes, we're going to have a poll and, we're going to get everyone's opinion on what they would like to see down there. Well, I can guarantee you, if you took a poll right now and asked these people sitting here, what would you want down there? Would you want a park? Guarantee you the answer would be no.
Back again, I'm sorry. If y'all just want to listen to me one more time. I just have one question for the councilwoman. She mentioned something about Marine Park and what they were going to do at Marine Park. And I don't know if a lot of you people know this, but you have to pay to park in Marine Park. So how can you have a park that you can enjoy if I want to go crabbing or fishing down there and I got to run and put money in the meters every 5 minutes? Does that make any sense? Is that actual public use for a park when you have to pay to use the park? Can you answer that, please, Councilwoman?
Yes, thank you. Yeah, we've gotten questions on this before. The money that's...
I asked.
Yeah, thank you. The money that's collected for the parking there, I believe does go to the Parks Department.
However, I'm a taxpayer. I shouldn't have to pay to go fishing and crabbing in Red Bank. I pay, and that tax program, that's another thing I'd like to get into, but another night I might get arrested downtown if I come to say that. But that power tax program was a piece of crap, and y'all know it. My taxes went up astronomically because of that, and we got a sign out there one day before you could appeal. I think that was garbage. But getting back to the park, I'm a taxpayer. I pay a lot of money in taxes. I don't see those services, and I want to go crabbing in Marine Park, and I don't want to have to pay. Can you answer why I have to pay?
The money that's collected from the...
I know the money is collected, that's fine, but I already paid money. I'm not talking about the meters. You got meters all up Mama Street, White Street, Broad Street, Front Street. You got meters, you can't even go in the hospital because you got to pay for a meter. But why do I have to pay to go crabbing or fishing in the park? Or if I want my grandson to go down there and play on the playground, I have to pay to go to the park.
Paying for the crabs.
No. I don't understand that. I want to know why. I'm still not getting the answer. You're telling me where the money's going. Enough of that parking meter money should come from the streets to pay for the different things in the park. Plus you have a budget for parks and recreation. So don't give me the crap that the meters pay for the park. I don't want to hear that. That's not the issue. I want to know why my tax dollar, I can't go fishing and crabbing in the park, because I pay a lot. And I mean I pay a lot. I pay over $15,000 a year in taxes. So I want to know why I cannot fish in the park.
You can fish in the park, but we can't charge you differently than we charge anybody else.
Why are you charging?
Because
so taxpayers don't get privileges, but somebody can come out of town and I have to be treated the same as somebody comes out of town. I don't think that's fair. I don't think it's fair at all. You know it's wrong. Taxpayers should have an exemption to use the park. And it can be done, all you gotta do is make a resolution and give us some kind of sticker to put on our cars.
Well, I'm sure the council can consider that.
Good evening, people. I'm Ellen Fisher. I live on 28 Bank Street. I've been there like 35 years. I'm a teacher in Middletown for 40 years. And I'm really appalled at what I'm hearing about the whole situation. If there is a location where they have a lot of toxic waste, they need to just fix it. Don't worry about the kids. I teach little kids. And to have kids down there is just, I can't even believe it. They need to fix that area and just, you know, go and find some other place for the kids. I know kids around here don't have too many places to have fun. But Middletown is different, but I'm pulled at what I'm hearing about the situation, and I hope we can fix it. I appreciate it. Thank you.
One more question I got for you, Mr. Sipples. Well, I got a couple more real quick, but some of y'all may not know it, but back in the day, Riverview, it was a boat ramp down there, and Riverview added on to their building. And they bought that boat ramp where the public used to have access to launch their boat in and out, free. And when Riverview bought it from the borough, it was told that they was going to put a boat ramp on the west side. I'm 62 years old, and I still don't see a boat ramp. I gotta go to Long Branch, I gotta go to Little Silver, Middletown, put a boat in. And where's that money at, Mr. Silver? Huh?
It was $210,000, which is still in a trust account, because we haven't found a place where we can build a ramp and provide the parking for the car and the trailer when you launch the boat. We were ordered to close that ramp by the insurance company because of the liability. If you remember, Mr. Boynton, we had some people drive off a ramp in Monmouth Beach, 2 people died. And ours also, we had our ramp was damaged by a storm, and they felt the combination of the hill, the fact there's no parking, and the fact that the ramp was damaged, that we should close the ramp. So we gave up the rights to the ramp at the time. The council negotiated with the hospital, got $210,000, and it's still in account, and it's still designated to be used for some sort of boat launch. And if we find property where we can do it, we'll do it. But that's still in account. It's earning interest.
Mr. Brett, just to follow up, just for clarification, the past 12 years, we did locate 2 sites for possible boat ramps. So if we could adopt it, we actually authorized the then borough engineer, T&M Associates, to file the necessary applications, because any application for a boat ramp has to go to the state. Both of those sites were rejected for very scientific reasons. One was a habitat for fishery, so they would not permit us to build it, and the other one was too narrow and also unsafe. So we have been looking. There were 2 sites we made applications for. Both of those were denied by the state for those 2 reasons, but we are still looking.
Mr. Sipples, you just stated that some town, they ran off in the water. Well, went down Marine Park a couple years ago. Somebody rode right on the dock down there and rode right in the river. And that wasn't a boat ramp, that was the dock. So, I'm just saying, I hear what you're saying, but you gotta watch what you say, because people drove right off Marine Park, right in the river down there.
Drove through the railing. Drove through the railing.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, you said they drove in another town off the boat ramp, so here it is, this is not a boat ramp. So when are you gonna stop people from driving off? They're not. But I'm just saying, you say the money is in escrow, and you say $200,000, so you figure all the years that money been in escrow, it should have a whole lot of interest on it now, shouldn't it? It should be more than that.
It probably is.
But I'm just saying, so.
I told you what the original amount was.
Yeah, but I'm just, that's when they put it in there, that was the regular amount.
Right.
But it should be more now.
By the way, the mayor is correct. The DEP did stop us from building it because they won't allow us to create another power boat launching facility because of the river. They say no more new launching facilities. We can do a kayak launch, we can do this, but we can't back internal combustion engines, we can't create new brands.
But you got private people have launching facilities all over the river.
They're existing. They're existing.
Yeah, right.
Right.
Yeah.
They won't let us create a new one.
But why can't you have public access if you can have private access? I don't understand that.
Private property.
We're gonna, yeah, but still, you're saying the environmental protection won't let them. The guy just opened up a ramp over here on Front Street. They let him do it because it's private property. Come on, man.
No, he owns, that was always a ramp.
No, yeah, he just brought it, and when the new owner came, it should have been put into effect that he can't open a new boat ramp, but they let him do it, and you say that we can't open a new boat ramp. I don't understand that.
Tell me what they told us.
Steve B telling you a whole lot, Mr. Simmons. But we're gonna move on now because I think this park down before the sunset is very serious, and we're gonna try our best to do what we can do to stop that park. And we want to move on to another issue. Police song in Red Bank and outside towns around there also. Anybody got any questions for the chief of police? Anybody have any questions for the chief of police? And also that quick, the councilors. While y'all on the bench and the new one that's running, whatever, I'm not here to be a politician, but we need something done on River Street for them seniors. As fast as this park been talked about, it should have been talked about as soon as you came in office. This way you should have started right up here. And I'm not knocking it, but I understand that I see the parks over here, new park that they have over here, for low income people. What I've been hearing is a cheap fix. Floors, swamp, mildew, floods. So we don't want our people living in something like this here. When you have all these new condos going up around town. So we need y'all to look into that. Now we want to talk about the police issue. Anybody have any questions?
Said it best when they said knowledge will forever govern ignorance. And people who mean to be their own governors must arm themselves with the power which knowledge gives. So what he was saying in that statement is you gotta be knowledgeable of the laws that are being applied to people and the land. They gotta be just and fair. And I noticed a lot of police officers don't know the law and they're enforcing something they don't understand. They are making people and doing things to people illegally, and the court system is a criminal kangaroo court whose judge just passed away, and I'm pretty sure he's on fire because he was a criminal and he got what he deserved. It's rules, policies, and procedures supposed to be followed, and they're not being followed. A lot of things, I'm talking about my case specifically, the the Red Bank court and municipal courts and so forth, when they give people a ticket, they have 90 days to come to a resolution on that ticket for either due process violation or speedy trial. And when the person has their ducks in order and very knowledgeable, and if you don't ask for no delays, it should be within 90 days. But the Red Bank on a repeated level and basis constantly breaks the law and prolong the time, turnover discovery, due process violation, giving over information for the police department, which is against the law. And then when you ask the police, or you can't talk about it, or you refuse to do anything about it, and the cops are constantly breaking law and there's no reprimand. Just like my daughter got in trouble for what the judge did and it's been overturned, rescinded. And when they took my daughter to jail illegally, they took her shoes off and sent her to the county without shoes. And then she went to court without shoes on. And it was no reason for it. The county, yeah, she was released without shoes because they was left to red band. I mean, so a lot of deviant stuff go on with these despicable cops. They're criminals. They're criminals with uniform. They're a gang. And they act like a gang. Just like my car was towed away, was parked, got a rich, and they won't bring me to trial. I asked for a speedy trial. Won't give it to me. Won't give it to me. Because you know why? There's no justification. The cop gave me a ticket parked on Bank Street for obstructing traffic on the highway. That's the ticket he gave me. And towed my car away when my son was there telling him, what are you doing? You still got that on your phone? And the cop said, well, if you keep alive, wrote a report. False declaration, 1623. False declaration to the court, or the grand jury. Wrote a report saying my son was hostile and he threatened my son for arrest because he didn't know he was getting recorded. And he was threatened with arrest if he didn't, and then it was found out. And now it's prolonged still. And this happened what? Almost a year ago. Almost a year ago. Went in my ex-wife's house without a warrant, talking about my granddaughter might be hung from the ceiling in the attic. And it's still going on. Still, we go to trial again.
And then as we made a complaint to Internal Affairs, we was told that there was no justifications to rise for an investigation. Although there was no warrant, there's a video that was just on YouTube, and there's no warrant. They said they can go in the house even if people there left. And when we brought the video to the police station, there's nothing out the door. They did exactly what they were supposed to do. They went into the house without a warrant, without a complaint, and there's no justification. Our rights, we have a right to be secured in our person, not houses. And me in particular, with regards to my daughter, that didn't happen. Ran through the house and it said that my daughter could possibly hang from himself.
And we got it on video. If you like to see the video?
I have seen it.
Or you had seen the video. So how? And we didn't go to trial on this yet.
As far as the trial goes, I have absolutely no control over when something goes to trial or doesn't. We handled the internal affairs investigation with the Monmouth County Prosecutor's Office, and it was unsubstantiated. In other words, there was no basis for any further investigation, as deemed by the Prosecutor's Office, not by the Riverhead Police Department.
So these are criminals.
But you have your own internal affairs. And
We're required to have our own internal affairs investigators.
Right, so if Monmouth County don't take a complaint, then it's up to...
They did take the complaint.
And then you got denied, correct?
Correct.
And then they can come down here and have your own police department sanction those officers. That didn't happen.
They conducted a joint investigation with the prosecutor's office. If I can just finish. They conducted a joint investigation with the prosecutor's office. It was unsubstantiated. Once it's unsubstantiated, the case is closed. There is no sanctions because the case is unsubstantiated.
The confusion about that is how did it become unsubstantiated? When there was no complaint, there was no warrant.
I'm not going to go into, it's an active investigation, as you just said, it's pending trial. I can't go into the details, but it was deemed by the county and by myself to be a proper search.
A proper search. You did this. So, I mean, your resident. So you understand, he said a proper search for a cop to go run in your house without a warrant, accusing you with no complaining witness that your child might be hanging from the ceiling. When you tell them, don't come to my house, no warrant, no response. That's against the Fourth Amendment of the Constitution of the United States, which is the law of the land. But somehow, he found it with himself saying it's unsubstantiated. That's all I gotta say. You understand? So, when we have meetings like this, we gotta remember that the young people must be here. The young people, your grandkids, your son, your neighbors who's in here, not only should they clean the community up when you see trash, it should be trash on every corner, garbage receptacle on every corner, so we can clean the trash up as well. We can live in a nice area. But you also gotta be knowledgeable of the people who's enforcing the laws against you and vote them out and so forth and so forth. So on.
I got one last thing. Including myself and a lot of other younger people, seems to be getting harassed and followed without no probable cause. I mean, for example, I can speak for myself personally. Ever since the situation when we filed the complaint in regards to my daughter, I've been followed on numerous occasions on where they'll run my name, run my place. I'll ask the officer, won't get pulled over. I mean, but you know what stress that causes on me? And I can only imagine other people to be followed by a police officer for no apparent reason. When I go up and ask, what was the reason for the pullover, I'm lied to, say I didn't do it, and I tell them I seen you, I can see where you set the camera, and when it's the red light that started blinking.
That camera, just to clear that up, that camera catches every single license plate that goes by. They don't push a button to activate it or anything. It's constantly running, catching. It runs something like 8 license plates per second. It has the ability to. The officer doesn't control which one it runs. It runs every license plate.
I'm not talking about.
Well, you're talking about the red light camera that comes on.
The dash cam.
Yeah. No.
I'm talking about because I requested discovery on several occasions, and when I was told that the dash cam wasn't on for apparent reason, then that's when it didn't work for their benefit. But when it works against them, they say, oh, well, the dash cam wasn't on, and when it works for them, it was on.
The cameras also aren't controlled by the police officer. They come on automatically when the lights come on in the car and they turn it off. The officer has the ability to turn it off at the end of a stop, but he has no ability to keep it from coming on.
How many do all vehicles have?
All of our marked patrol vehicles have it.
Okay. Okay.
Our detective vehicles don't have it, my vehicle doesn't have it,
Okay.
but our patrol vehicles have it.
Okay, because then I'll be coming to sit down with you because I requested discovery patrolling the Raymond's. I was told that his vehicle doesn't have a dash.
It doesn't, he's an unmarked traffic vehicle.
But he's a patrolman, he's not.
It's not, it doesn't go on the patrolman because on the vehicle, Patrolman Doremus is assigned to the traffic unit. They drive unmarked cars, they're not equipped with traffic with,
But if they join the traffic, shouldn't they be vehicles that have the dash cam so it can be?
it depends on the function of the vehicle. If it's an unmarked vehicle, we don't have them equipped with cameras.
Gotta move on a little bit. I have to share your incident with me with police officers here in Red Bank. I respect the chief. Me and the chief had a little conflict a couple months ago, and we made up, and we had a good conversation, and we talked. Whenever I call the chief or something over here, he will come. That I know, he will come, and he have came. But I had a couple incidents with myself, with a couple of cops, young cops we have problems with, not the older cops. And what we want, these young cops, is to learn the community and get to know the peoples in the community and work with the peoples in the community. And it has been brought up several times that these cops don't even speak to you. You can cross right in front of them. They won't even raise their hand at you. But they pull you over, give you a ticket. I have a young lady here, not mention her name, but she live here, pay taxes here. My daughter came home and hit the bump on Layton Avenue. Everybody knew where the bump's at on Layton Avenue. Hit the bump. She didn't know a light went out. Police made a U-turn on Layton Avenue and followed her on Main Street. She got out, police pulled up behind her. Instead of him giving her a warning, he wrote her a ticket, $60 ticket, with the light bulb came out and ran the car. That's wrong. I'm not saying he had a right to do that, but how you expect to work with the community, at least he could have told the young lady your light is out. But I'm gonna tell you, and I hate to say it, I know it's women's in here, but I'm gonna keep the facts. These women get in the car, they don't check their lights. I'm being straight up, they boom. You know what I mean? They don't know their lights out. But if the police tell you that you got a light out, at least you can get it fixed. Now, I went all the way to Florida, to West Florida, with my trailer. Okay. And I went all the way to Key West, Florida, with my trailer. And I told you, Chief, I was all the way down to Key West, Florida, man. I had a nice time. Coming out of Key West, Florida, I went around a school bus. He would have made a right-hand turn, but he stopped. But I was halfway around there with my trailer. Police pulled me over. Driver's license registration. Hey, man, I'm on vacation. I gave him driver's license registration. I said, give me a ticket, you know, go. He came back, he said, listen, boy, where you headed? I said, back to Jersey. He said, you know, this truck ain't registered. What? Because see, back in the day, you used to go with the sticker in your window. I said, the truck ain't ready. Oh, Lord, I'm down here in West Florida now. The little bit of money I got now, I got to get out of jail and bail the truck out. He said, no. He said, I'm going to tell you something. From here to Jersey, don't you get stopped and have a safe trip. They give me no ticket, no nothing. He was an older guy. But if I was here, I'd been
We older guys don't write tickets in.
But Chief, the only thing is that I come to the council meeting and I bring it up several times, and it seems like when I talk about it, I'm not saying it don't, but it seems like it's going one ear and out of the other ear. And these young cops around here, I mean, we had an incident up on the west side. My cousin was in the backyard, football. But with the tailgate, that's what they call it, tailgate. And they was back there cooking and had the TV out there. The police walked right in the backyard. Then when they seen him, now it's really finna get hot because they want to know what he back here for. Oh, I thought that y'all was fighting. Is that lying?
That's what he said. Exactly.
I thought y'all was fighting. Now, he walked in the backyard. Now, I brought it to your attention. How can one cop do something with 8 guys? Then back there. How can one officer? What he should have, I'm not saying what he should have done, but the same officer that walked in the backyard had another incident 2 days prior to that with my other cousin on River Street. And I told you, he sat down the street from my Aunt Mary's house, sat down the street on the other side of Lake Avenue, sat in his car, and my cousin there was standing in the front door. I didn't know what he was sitting there for. Cop. He sat there. My cousin never came out and got in the car and came right up there to the laundromat. He came up River Street, shot down Lake, and slowed up to see whether he gonna go straight. But he turned on Bank Street. The cop came and pulled behind the truck and sat there. Me and my cousin walked from the laundromat down Bank Street. Soon as my other cousin came and got in the car, the police made a U-turn, pulled him over right down Lake Avenue. Me and my cousin didn't interfere, but we walked up there and asked what was wrong. He said, pull him over. He don't have no license. But we just seen you stalking the house down there. No officer had the right to stalk anybody's house. If it was an older police officer, he would have got out and said, look, don't get in that building. You don't have no license. But we know these young cops, they get ranked by arresting people and whatnot.
Well, not exactly. But can I just maybe jump in for a minute and then you can keep going?
Go ahead.
First of all, I'll say discretion is something that's really hard to teach and something that's learned over time. 25 years ago, I don't have the same discretion I have now. It's just not the way it works. If everybody wrote as many tickets as me, there would be a book of tickets for the entire department for the whole year. It just doesn't work that way. You know, the older officers don't write as many tickets. They have hopefully have other responsibilities that they're doing, leading the younger officers, leading the department, doing whatever. So to compare an officer who's 23 years old and has 2 years on the job to an officer who's 48 years old and has 28 years on the job is not, it's not a good comparison. There's no way you're going to have the same response from both officers in any situation, probably, not just on a traffic stop. And as far as discretion, yes, I haven't written a taillight ticket in 10 years, but 10 years ago I wrote taillight tickets. That's just the way it is. Some officers write them and some officers don't. I can tell you from a factual standpoint, we write tickets on about 40 to 50% of our traffic stops, department-wide. So if we stop, 100 cars, 40 to 50 of them are getting tickets. The other 50 to 60 of them are not getting tickets. Which, from a leadership standpoint of a police department, is almost perfect. You want less than half of the people to get tickets. The idea of a car stop is to identify who's driving the car, correct the behavior, and find out if there's anything else afoot besides just the traffic violation. And do some officers have a higher percentage? Absolutely. Some officers write a higher percentage than 40%. Some officers write a lower percentage than 40%.
Well, you know, when you look at the TV and you see a lot of young black getting shot in the back, getting shot for unnecessary things. When this young kid got out the police car, it's a good thing he had a cam. It hit me. But on his report, it was something different. You see, this is what we have. These officers use this badge, but they have the right to protect them. They do things. Incident, a young lady came home, not mention her name. Her daughter was in the car. She pulled in the driveway. Two Red Bank police pulled in there, actually pulled in her driveway. Right behind her. One pulled in, one had the police car blocked in. What's going on? Driver license benefit shows. Do you live here? What's on the driver license? Where you pull me? Oh, it looked like I couldn't see your tag. A couple of days later, she contacted me. I called the police over there. He stood way back. Car was in the driveway. Garage. He said, I can see your tags from here. But what I'm saying is, this is, you know, Chief, we have a problem here, and I'm gonna be straight up, I'm gonna put it out there. We have a problem here with these young cops. If they don't wanna listen, they work here in this town, they get tax dollars in this town, and they pay taxes in other towns. Why are we hiring them in this town when we have people who live here can't get jobs in this town?
That one I'd be happy to address. The last time I hired 6 officers in 2013, and the beginning of 2014, I had 300 applicants. I had 6 from Red Bank. So the other 294 people were from not in Red Bank. So when you have 6 people and out of 300 from Red Bank, it's hard to say that those 6 are going to be the top qualified. In that particular case, 1 out of the 6 that we hired was from Red Bank. But considering we only had 6 applicants from Red Bank, that's not too bad. So a lot of it is that we're not getting the not even that they're not qualified applicants, they're just not applying at all. We have a very small applicant pool coming from Red Bank.
Well, when you go on Red Bank Green and whatnot, you see the salaries that some of these officers get. That's one of the reasons why our taxes in this town study going up and they ain't changing. And we, you know, like somebody spoke earlier, we're not getting the service that we should get in this town. All we get now is privatized garbage.
From a police standpoint, I think you are getting the service. Our crime rate's never been lower. You know, you're getting a decent service in that if you're looking for a place to live, you want some place with the lowest possible crime rate. For a semi-urban type environment, we probably have the lowest crime rate in Monmouth County.
I'll rephrase that. I mean, service from the public works or whatnot, not that the police department. We're getting a whole lot of service from the police department. Believe me.
You can do a little more if you want.
And I was one of the issues, you know, a couple of months ago, I brought up the issue about when you go to court that you don't have a fair trial when you go to court. Because I brought it up, Mr. Silver, you remember at the council meeting, I brought it up that the judges get a percentage for a fee that they bring in from the town, revenue, they get a percentage. And which was it? A couple months ago, it was in the whole Asbury Park press that the judges makes money when they charge for tickets. The judges get a percentage. So no judge is not going to go against a police officer. No judge is not going to go against a code enforcement. Let me finish, Mr. Silver. I worked here in the town, and when I worked down in Public Works, I was friends with a lot of retired police officers. No other cop, and we always talk, laugh, and joke, supposed to go against another police officer. No matter what, if he's wrong or right. Now I'm going to tell you something, Chief. I was there 29.5 years. And the police are retired and gone now, a lot of them. We, sanitation department, was accused of a lot of stuff downtown that we didn't do. And see, years ago, they used to put stuff at the doors downtown, in the alleyways. and the owner come and open up the stores, get the pockets. We was accused of it. We was being accused of it, but the police was taking it.
I know what you're saying. You're predating me, and I've been here
No,
for 20 years.
But I'm just saying these things happen. And see, I'm not knocking the police officers, and I'm not doing it, but also, chief of police, you remember, I worked in the sanitation department, and you get a call 5 o'clock in the morning to go to Locust Landing. And when you go to Locust Landing, you see a police car over there where y'all talking about putting the park at Swamp Area stuck in the mud. Wonder why was that cop there? Why was that car there? Well, we was told not to say nothing about it. Get the cable and pull it out, then you run it through the car wash. See, we know about these things. But I'm not saying all police is like that. But we just need you to work with us on these young cops to make it better for this town before tragedy do happen in this town.
Well, the profession's come a long way from the, I don't know, 60s and 70s. I think that's self-serving maybe, but it has, just in general, not just in Red Bank, everywhere. But, you know, as far as the complaints about different traffic stops, with the exception of a couple of our cars, they're all video monitored. They all have video cameras in the car monitoring the traffic stops. Every single complaint that we get from a citizen is handled either by one of our internal affairs investigators, if it's minor, like the meter or an improper stop. And if it's more serious, it's handled with the prosecutor's office. We get very few of those, which indicates, I hear a lot of stories, but we get very few complaints, which indicates to me that it's not a widespread problem. If I'm sitting there looking at my complaints and we're handling 22,000 calls a year, and we get we get 10 or 12 internal affairs complaints a year, which range from demeanor complaints all the way up to excessive force, that's not even a tenth of a percent. 22,000 calls and about 10 complaints is extremely small. So, you know, and I'm not saying nothing ever happens, but the complaint has to reach us before we can handle it, even if it is as minor as my light wasn't out, because we can look at the video and see whether the light is out or not. It's not a question. But if we don't know about it, we can't do it.
I have came to you a lot of times, talked to you about a situation, and you looked into it, you come back, he was doing his job. I'm not here to dispute you, and I'm not here to argue with you, attack you, but I felt very insulted when I made a call, an accident on Sheep Avenue, and I made a phone call. Truck came out of the west side and boom. I didn't know other people's call. I was sitting in my truck. I made a call down police station, and I told you, the young man, the dispatch got real nasty. So when I came to the council meeting, he said that he was doing his job, and I had a right to pull the form out. I wasn't about to go that route. I figured by coming to you, you would speak to the young man. He's being paid to be a dispatcher, and he should know how to deal with a lot of calls that's coming in. We had an incident in New York that the dispatchers done the same thing, and a couple people died because the first day didn't get to them. But we need to work together. I'm not against none of your councilmen. Stanley, the mayor, we need to work together. And like I told you, Eric, a long time ago, when I first met you, I'm gonna be out here. I'm not running for councilman. I'm not running for Mr. position, because I already got this. I got 13 grandkids. I can't go nowhere. But I'm going to be out here. And I told you, Mr. Sickles, a long time ago, when I retired, I'm going to be all over Red Bank, serving the senior citizens and the kids in this town. And I'm not going nowhere. So the good Lord be ready to take me.
Chief, my name is Rashid Hansford, and we're part of 100% Lawn Care. 100% Lawn Care services Monmouth and Ocean County. Okay? We do a lot of jobs in town. Sometimes, as my guys are driving through Red Bank, they get pulled over. You know, we drive trailers, so of course it might be a tail light out. It could be, you know, the tire wagon or whatever. Those plate readers you got on the back of those cars, okay? And they go through an algorithm, and they go down and downloads in there, and it pulls up for warrants, and it pulls up for, you know, all different types of things, Amber Alerts and all things of that nature. Hey. Why is it that if my driver's license has a hiccup in it from about 15 years ago, It still comes up right now. Like every vehicle that I have, my guys drive my vehicle, they get pulled over accident, they got a DUI. I got a DUI 12 years ago. They still get asked that question. And it happens right here in Redmond. That's ridiculous.
The only thing that'll come up, well, that's not off the camera, that's if they run the plate, but okay, the camera doesn't check that, but if they physically run the plate, which they have computers in the car, they can physically run a plate. And there's the Attorney General's guidelines on when they can run the plate and how they can run the plate. But assuming they run it correctly, then it comes up with whatever the registered owner's information is. Now, if the registered owner, we're supposed to try to match that to who's driving the car. So if the registered owner is a 30-year-old male and it's a 60-year-old woman driving the car, we're supposed to be able to figure out that that's not the same person. But we have no way of knowing if there is another male that's somewhere around 25 to 35, then we would assume that's the registered owner until we find this.
Okay, my issue is, we're going on to something else. My issue is, something that happened to me, a personal issue that happened to me 12 years ago. How is that affecting me and my employees today?
How, affecting how, I'm not sure.
Okay, if I got 3 guys in the truck and we're driving down here down Shrewsbury Avenue, now we happen, please by God, to make it past Shrewsbury. You make it in the Red Bank, you ain't safe. You make it in the Fairhaven, you're going to get pulled over and you're going to have a bad day. Okay, so we know that most black landscapers don't even put anything on the other side or on their calendar, because I know I don't. Freddie called me about 20 times about jobs on the other side. I told him I can't do them. Hey, I can't afford the tickets. I can't afford the issues. And nowadays, and we're going to call a spade what it is. Now that we have a gentleman in office now that's talking about putting up this wall here, all right? And I know you guys are going through the Sanctuary City thing and all this right now, but most of the Mexicans are legal, which creates a big void out here for a lot of different things. Why don't we use this void that we have and take care of the citizens over here? Now, the young lady the other day said about having using a learning center over here. If I could take these young guys and keep them off the corner from throwing hands and put a lawnmower in their hand and teach them a trade and make them proud about themselves, they ain't got to worry about getting that nickel bag of funk. They can go ahead and start buying groceries. You know, if we get these guys properly motivated, you know, if we had a couple of your officers out here, like when we come out here and do barbecues, if they came out here and talked with us, well, like David Smith and, you know, Ramos and all of them used to come out here and talk with us and everything else. But now we don't have those guys anymore. Most of the guys that you've had on this force of last, from 2013, you know, the only time we see them is when they ain't in our face asking for license registration. That's not the time to really talk to an officer because I don't want to talk to you then. You understand?
No, you're 100% right about that. And we do work on getting out there, and the youngest officers are the toughest because they're young officers and they're trying to get their job done and make a name for themselves and do their thing. But we do have officers that are out in the community working. We just happened to start a new mentoring program with Councilman Ingstrom, where we have officers mentoring young kids.
Why can't we start something like that right here?
Well, we do it here. I mean, we do it here in this building. They did it in conjunction with the middle school and with Parks and Rec. And it just started within the last month.
What I'm saying is
so they are working on getting out in the community, and he'll go anywhere. He'll take his show on the road here, the Two River Theater he's talked to, the lunch break he's talked to.
Right, but my point here is that we're looking at a certain demographic of males. We're talking about a demographic of males of 16 to 28. Now, we're talking about 16 to 28 black males. Now, you know, a lot of times dealing in the club business, I'm nervous. I'm nervous because of that potential violence. But if I got these guys and I'm teaching them and showing them and putting pride and respecting them and showing them how to do things the right way, if I can get some help with that, you would affect change in Red Bank today.
We'd be happy to help. We're a little on the younger side of that. We're shooting for the middle school kids to get them before that point, but we'd be happy to do it with older kids, men, if we could, but that's a very tough segment of the population for us to reach as well. I mean, for those of you who
community leaders help out a lot with that too. And we're not just talking about the regular residents that don't even stay here. We're talking about the everyday people that come and coach these kids and the everyday people that come up and try to keep them kids from getting hit across the street. This is segueing into what I'm saying here, Chief. You got the City of Learning Center sitting over here. You got Boys and Girls Club sitting right here. You got GJ Torres. I mean, he got to stay packed over here now. You got lunch break sitting over here. When we start doing events out here, we sit our brothers out on the crosswalks trying to keep people from getting hit. We've actually had to stop people physically flying down this road. 5 o'clock, between 7 o'clock, right here, it's like Beirut. And we have to do something. If we can get that light where the kids count, because I remember the Sister Crank, she tried to let those kids out to try to go for lunch break to eat. People don't care, they're not from this town, they come straight through. We've got to find it somewhere around. I know another road when the bridge was closed over here, and we started getting everything, everybody had to come through this Hell Point. We've never seen the police out here, Chief. And I remember Freddie came and called you, and came out here, and you came out after the block party, the lieutenant, you sit out here for the block party, they complained about it, and after that, I remember they sent their unit out there, all right? A week later, a guy came around that corner, he said the curb jumped out on him. Drunk in a Gouda Brown. The cop was sitting right here, he jumped out, that guy stepped out that car, he was lit. Now how that cop let that guy walk away? I don't know. Now, I did a job a couple years ago, but I ain't never seen nothing like that, and I was quite upset. And he let that man just walk away after having an accident toward the front of his car, drunk as hell. Y'all wasn't cool.
I couldn't tell you I remember that.
Yeah, I'm just saying. Yeah, but in any case scenario, we need to come up with a way. We really do to engage the normal everyday youth out here. If not, you better have him as friends than have him as enemies. And when they go down, who you gonna talk to? Last year I remember it was a murder out here. First time I ever heard about a murder and everything since forever. And then Brother Green said, well, the person must have ran in front of my house and they wanted to look at the camera. I said, oh my God, what's going on, Green? Come to find out, you know, everybody looked up and down, this, that, and the other, nobody was saying anything. And we still to this day don't know what, we never saw it, right?
I'm not sure what you're talking about.
Well,
some have been solved and there's one or two that have not.
Anyway, if we had the community relations that could be, a lot of this thing would be solved, a lot of these things would be effectively fixed before they get broken. And especially when you get communicating, when you're dealing with a large number of people. You know, you have marches going on, you have things of that nature. Right now in other towns, they got really a lot of racial tension. Red Bank has squelched a lot of that. And that's become the relationship that you have with community leaders working together. But it's room for improvement. And I really wish that we could help with that improvement.
You can. I've never said no. I'm here tonight. I've been to every function, and normally, I didn't tonight, but normally I bring 3 or 4 officers, and I pick different ones each time, so I kind of integrate them into the community relations part of it. I didn't bring them tonight because of the nature of this. I didn't think it was appropriate, but I knew you wanted to talk to me. But I will come to absolutely anything and bring officers with me as well.
Yeah. If we start learning the officer's name, then it's other than just being officer.
I always mix it up and bring different age groups of officers, different ranks of officers, including our younger patrolmen, to try to get them into the community.
Thank you, Chief. I appreciate your time. We're going to end off here with...
I'm going to be very brief. I'm always very brief, I think. Question for the police chief. I know that a community type, a town hall meeting with you and your officers, and I think we should set it up on a regular basis. And I think it should be done with the community on this side of town. And I saw an article in the paper one time, it was like kind of a joke, I think it was Officer Torres or somebody. He wanted to have a coffee hour with the community downtown at like 9 in the morning when everybody's out at work. We don't have a problem reaching out and having a communication with the police officers, having an open dialogue, but we can't have it at 9 o'clock in the morning on a coffee shop down on Front Street where we have to pay to park, first of all, and then we're going to have to pay for coffee and sitting in. Why can't we have a setting, River Street Commons, over at a community room in the housing, over here where we have community at, and have a town hall with the police officers on a regular basis, and like you said, bring in a couple of your patrolmen each time and let them get to know the community and speak with the community. I don't see how that would be such a hard thing to accomplish, Chief.
It's not. We plan to do another one after the summer when people's lives calm down a little bit. We did that first one. It came up because that particular business owner was talking to me personally and Patrolman Torres, and it came up in conversation that we wanted to do it, and he immediately said, I'll do it. And I get that it's on Broad Street, it's 9 o'clock with coffee with the cop.
It's not going to work for us.
Well, it kind of lends itself to doing it in the morning. Nobody wants it. If I had coffee at 9 o'clock at night, I'm never going to sleep. So it's going to be.
We can have beer like they do at the beer bar.
I thought of that, but I thought maybe not. But we are gonna do another one, we're gonna do it in the fall, and we are gonna do it somewhere else, I'm not sure where. And if it's a community room like this, that would be fine as well. We talked about near the train station to get commuters. We talked about doing it on a Saturday instead of a weekday. But we plan on doing them probably quarterly and moving them around to different locations.
Okay.
So if you want to get on the list of them.
Sure, I will, and my agency will. Listen, also, Parks and Recreation and the chairman of the Parks and Recreation, I think it's a lady over there. Well, she was talking about Marine Park, I thought she was in charge of that. But at any rate, they talked about the parks, and we talked about the park, the proposed park, and we talked about the parks in the field, we talked about, what about the East Side Park? I'd like to bring up something about the East Side Park real quick. They have activities at the East Side Park that are supposed to be town-wide activities, but the people on the west side can't get there. You got an Easter egg hunt on the east side of the park. My man here, he can't get his daughter over there to the Easter egg park over there. Why don't we have something over here for these kids on this side of town? You have a community garden that senior citizens are supposed to work with. Can you see somebody from Red Bank over here, River Street School, senior citizen, walking all the way over to Harrison Avenue to participate in a community garden? Let's be real. Why don't we have a community garden on this side of town? And why don't we have an Easter egg hunt and activities on this side of town like they have at East Side Park? That's all I want to know.
All right, well, the Easter egg hunt this year was at Count Basie Field, so.
It was advertised on that sign that the East Side Park was at the Easter egg park. It was on the sign. It was on the sign that said it was at East Side Park, and it gave a time. Don't go there, man. I know what I mean.
I'm telling you that it was at Count Basie Field.
And I'm telling you, the sign said it was at East Side Park. Huh? The sign right out here said it was at East Side Park. So whoever put the sign up didn't know what they were doing, and maybe they did that so a lot of our kids will come out.
They had about 20 kids you could be out there.
Your suggestion's great about moving it to the park. We did do it this year. If it was, I'm not doubting that it was incorrect on the sign. If so, it was just a mistake. We also do a Halloween egg hunt, which we've done at East Side Park. We're moving that one over here too, because we want to kind of put Halloween on steroids, you know, and bring that over here. To your point about the community garden, it's well made. There are some people on our roster of the 16 plus that we have that are from this side of town. I think as we potentially progress with these projects here, looking at adding that feature is a great one. I mean, we see kids doing it, we see seniors doing it. It's educational, it's active, there's so many good things. So I wouldn't be surprised if in 2-3 years we had 4 or 5 of these around town. So it's been discussed on the rec committee, but the point's well made about, you know, more community gardens here as well.
Just don't try to grow anything down at the end of Sunset.
Good point, sir.
All right, Mr. Mayor, and the councilman and borough administrator, chief of police, I want to thank y'all for coming out, sharing your time with us. I know it's getting late, everybody got to get up tomorrow, and I want to thank the people for coming out, also supporting us, and maybe we're looking forward to work together down the road. And I'm looking forward to work with y'all, not against you, but if you work against me, like a bulldozer, I'm gonna keep pulling. Thank you. Anybody y'all got something to say?
Thank you all for coming.
Thank you.
And Freddie, thank you, Senator.